Hello everyone, my name is Amna from a loving school KPS Convent. As we are dealing with coronavirus, so we have to take some precaution, that is to stay at home and be safe. We are locked down till 14 April, so we have so much time left for ourselves. So it is up to you whether you want to utilize your time or not. Schools are closed and we value your time and education, so that's why KPS Convent is providing you digital content so you can study at home. So let's get started. So this is the chapter 4 of civics class 10, that is gender, religion and caste. Before starting the chapter, it is very essential to know the objectives of the chapter. So our first topic is gender and politics. We have 3 subtopics in it. First, introduction. Second, public-private divisions. Third, disadvantages for women. So our first topic in gender and politics is introduction. Gender and politics. Let us begin with gender division. This is a form of hierarchical social division seen everywhere but is rarely recognized in the study of politics. The gender of division tends to be understood as natural and unchangeable. However, it is not based on biology but on social expectation and stereotypes. So, our next topic is public-private divisions. Boys and girls are brought up to believe that the main responsibility of women is housework and bringing up children. This is reflected in a sexual division of labor. Sexual division we means that a system in which all work inside the home is either done by the women of the family or organized by them through the domestic helpers. In most families, women do all work inside the home, such as cooking, cleaning, washing clothes, tailoring, etc., and men do all the work of outside. It is not that men cannot do housework, but they are simply think that it is for women to attend to these things. When these jobs are paid, then men are ready to take up these works. Most tailors or cooks in hotels are men. Same way, women can do also work outside their home. Women do all the domestic work. In villages, women fetch water, collect fuel, and work in the fields. In urban areas, poor women work as domestic helper. In middle class home, while middle class women work in offices, in fact the majority of women do some sort of paid work in addition to domestic labor. But their work is not valued and does not get recognition. Earlier, only men were allowed to participate in public affairs, vote, and contest for public offices. Gradually, the gender issues were raised in politics. Women in different parts of the world organized and agitated for equal rights and voting rights. This agitation demanded enhancing the political and legal status of women and improving their educational and career opportunities. More radical women's movement aimed at equality in personal and family life as well. These movements are called feminist movements. So our next topic is disadvantages for women. In our country, women still lag much behind men despite some improvement since independence. Our is still a male-dominated patriarchal society. Women face disadvantages, discrimination and oppression in various ways. Literacy rate among women is less than compared to men, as you can see in this figure. Daughters are dropped out from the school because parents prefer to spend their resources for their boys' education rather than spending equally on their sons and daughters. On an average, Indian woman works 1 hour more than an average man every day. Yet much of her work is not paid and therefore often not valued. The Equal Remuneration Act 1976 provides that equal wages should be paid to equal work. However, in almost all areas of work, women are paid less than men, even when both do exactly the same work. In many parts of India, parents prefer to have sons and find ways to have the girl child aborted before she is born. Such sex-selective abortion led to a decline in child-sex ratio. In the country of merely 919, as the map shown, this ratio has fallen below 850 or even 800 in some places. So our next topic is women's political representations. There are reports of various kinds of harassment, exploitation, and violence against women. Urban areas have become particularly unsafe for women. Women are not safe even within their own home from beating, harassment, and other forms of domestic violence. Yet, issues is related to women's well-being or otherwise are not given adequate attention. This has led many feminist and women's movement to the conclusion that unless women control power, their problems will not get adequate attention. One way to ensure this is to have more women as elected representatives. In India, the proportion of women in legislature has been very low. For example, in 2014, number of strength for women was 12% in Lok Sabha. Women's share in state assemblies is less than 5%. One way to solve this problem is to make it legally binding to have a fair proportion of women in the elected bodies. This is what the Panchayati Raj has done in India. One third of seats in local self-government bodies in panchayats and municipalities are now reserved for women. Now there are more than 10 lakh women representatives in rural and urban local bodies. So our next topic is religion, communalism and politics. Gandhiji used to say that religion can never be separated from politics. What he meant by religion was not any particular religion but moral values that inform all religions. He believed that politics must be guided by ethics drawn from religion. Ideas, ideals, and values drawn from different religions can add and perhaps should play a role in politics. People should be able to express in politics their needs, interests, and demands. As a member of religious community, those who hold political power should sometimes be able to regulate the practice of religion so as to prevent discrimination and oppression. These political acts are not wrong as long as they treat every religion equally. Communalism. Communalism involves thinking along the idea that religion is the principal basis of social community. The followers of a particular religion must belong to one community. Their fundamental interests are the same. Any difference that they may have is irrelevant for community life. Communalism can take various forms in politics. The most common expression of communalism is in everyday beliefs. They involve prejudiced stereotypes of religious communities and belief in the superiority of one religion over the other religion. A communal mind often leads to a quest for political dominance of one's own religion's community. Sometimes, communalism takes its most ugly form of communal violence, riots, and massacre. India and Pakistan suffered some of the worst communal riots at the time of partition. Secular state. Communalism was and continues to be one of the major challenges to democracy in our country. The makers of our constitution were aware of this challenge. That is why they chose the model of secular state. Its benefit was there is no official religion for the Indian state. Everyone can follow their religion. There will be no particular religion for the state. The Constitution prohibits discrimination on grounds of any religion. At the same time, the Constitution allows the state to intervene in the matters of religion in order to ensure equality within religious communities. For example, it bans untouchability. So our next topic is caste and politics. It has three subtopics. First, caste inequalities. Second, caste in politics. Third, politics in caste. Caste inequalities. Unlike gender and religion, caste division is special to India. All societies have some kind of social inequality and some form of division of labor. In most societies, occupation are passed on from one generation to another. Caste system is an extreme form of this. What makes it different from the other society is that in this system, hereditary occupation division was sanctioned by rituals. Members of the same caste groups were supposed to form a social community that practiced the same or similar occupation, married within the caste group, and did not eat with members from other caste group. Caste system was based on exclusion and discrimination against the outcast groups. They were subjected to the inhuman practice of untouchability. That is why political leaders like Jyotiba Phule, Gandhiji, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, Periyar Ramaswamy Naikar advocated and worked to establish a society in which caste inequalities are absent. Caste in politics. Caste can take various forms in politics. When parties choose candidates in election, they keep in mind the caste composition of the electorate and nominate candidates from different castes so as to muster necessary support to win elections. Political parties and candidates in election make appeals to caste sentiment to muster support. No parliamentary constituencies in the country has a clear majority of one single caste, so every candidate and party needs to win the confidence of more than one caste and community to win elections. No party wins the votes of all the voters of a caste or community. Clearly, while caste matters in electoral politics, so do many other factors. The voters have strong attachment to political parties, which is often stronger than their attachment to their caste or community. People within the same caste or community have different interests depending on their economic condition. Rich and poor, or men and women from the same caste, often vote very differently. People's assessment of the performance of the government and the popularity rating of the leaders matters and are often decisive in elections. So our next topic is politics in caste. Politics too influences the caste system and caste identities by bringing them into the political arena. Thus, it is not politics that gets caste ridden, it is the caste that gets politicized. Each caste group tries to become bigger by incorporating with it neighboring caste or subcastes which were earlier excluded from it. Various caste groups are required to enter into a coalition with other caste or communities and thus enter into a dialogue and negotiation. New kinds of caste groups have come up in the political arena like backward and forward caste. Thus, caste plays different kinds of roles in politics. In some situations, expression of caste differences in politics gives many disadvantaged communities the space to demand their share of power. In this sense, politics has helped from people, Dalits and OBC caste to gain better access to decision making. Several political and non-political organizations have been demanding and agitating for an end to discrimination against particular castes for more dignity and more access to land, resources and opportunities. At the same time, exclusive attention to caste can produce negative results as well as in this case of religion. Politics based on caste identity alone is not very healthy in a democracy. It can divert attention from other pressing issues like poverty, development, and corruption. In some caste cases, division leads to tension, conflict, and even violence. By this, we end this chapter. Thanks for watching. Stay at home, be safe, and study well. Bye. Take care.